morning, Facebook. You guys staying warm? You got snow? Good morning from a blustery winter Florida Keys. We're in the lower Keys this morning where we woke up with 59 degrees. I think it's been since last year. We had a day or two where it was 59 in the morning. So that's our low. We had to pull out the jeans, long sleeve shirts. Probably some people had to dig out some socks or something this morning. But on my way to Key West to go to church this morning, and I wanted to talk to you about how to make sure people find your show in iTunes. And I hate to just say iTunes, excuse me, because I know there are other places people listen to podcasts besides iTunes. But one of the things that we just have to sort of cater to is iTunes, since it is one of the biggest listening platforms. And so we talk about iTunes not to say no other place is important, but this iTunes search is stupid. I'm just going to say it like that. I can't say it any other way. As intuitive as Apple is with its user interface, with everything else, iTunes is a beast when it comes to getting your show found. So the problem sort of with iTunes is that they continue to regulate what fields of your feed they're going to use search terms from. And so right now they've whittled it down to just 2 fields. There's only search capability from 2 fields within your iTunes feed. And if you don't have your keywords optimized for that particular, whatever your keywords are that you want people to find you under, then happy Sunday, Billy. Good to see you. Hope you're going somewhere and singing this morning. I know they need it. Need to hear you. But the biggest thing you can do, so if you go to iTunes and pull up your show, if you pull up your show and you look, there's the top 2 fields on the screen. It's going to be your title field, where the name of your show is, any keywords in the name of your show, or even I sometimes like to put what I call the pipe symbol. It's just that straight up and down symbol, and then put keywords after your the name of your show. And then the other field is right underneath that, which is considered the author field. So a lot of times I pull up a show in iTunes and I'll see they have the name of their show, and sometimes they haven't even changed it, like especially if they use Libsyn, they haven't even changed it from the I can't even say it, the show slug. Oh, thank you, Billy. We love to, yes, you'll hear. You know what? We should do that for sometime around the holiday. I'll get Allison to join me. We'll do a singing Facebook Live. Wouldn't that shock some people? People on the internet have no idea how we spend our lives. So we'll see what we can do. That'll be a good one. But anyway, that author field, a lot of times on the Facebook, on the internet, on the iTunes, let me get it right, it says unknown. And if it says unknown, that means you haven't even put anything in that field. So I want to tell you where to put those things and where to find those fields. So in your feed, if you go into Libsyn or wherever your podcast host is, whoever it is, your title field will be where you can put your keywords. So, for example, sometimes people have a show that is deadly serious about your keywords are already in there. You know exactly what it is. Let's just say, for example, there's a show called Private Practice Workshop. Well, private practice is a big keyword, and therapists and those sort of things know private practice, and they know what they're looking for. So that's a keyword already in the title, but after that, you might want to put the pipe symbol, and you might want to put your other keywords. And think about it this way. If people were searching for topics or things related to your show, what would you want them to put in order for your show to return in the search rankings? So maybe it is that you want it to be found under marketing, or private practice management, or business building, or maybe you're a different type of niche show and you're an organic gardener and you want people to find you under organic farming, gardening, planting, seed propagation. All of those are words that you could put after the name of your title in your podcast host. So if you do that, you will then be able to be found under all of those keywords that you've put in there. If you don't put those keywords in, you'll never be found. Then you have the author field, and I'll tell you that iTunes has started in the past year, just about a year or so, cracking down on people doing what they call keyword stuffing in the author field. And what happens is people will say, like, whatever the name of the show is, and then in the author field they'll say, here people like Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, and they'll just keep naming a bunch of other big people in their niche, hoping that if people are searching iTunes for Oprah, their show will come up. Well, iTunes considers that keyword stuffing, and you cannot put names or things like that in your field, that field, that don't really apply to your show. So unless I've had Oprah on my show, which I'm just going to tell you that's never going to happen, unless I have Oprah on my show, I have no business putting Oprah in that author field in iTunes. So, but what you want to do, instead of just putting your name, like I could put Podcast Rescue as my title, but I'm probably not going to get found very much under what I want to be found under. So I had to put like pod fading, podcaster, podcast, and iTunes is not a smart search either. So you can't just put the word podcast and hope that it's going to pick up the word podcaster if people type that in. So it's not like a Google search. But one of the things that you have to, you can do, or you should do, is create a sentence for your author field. So in other words, I could say, Christy Hostler is a podcaster. So now I've got podcaster as a word that I can be searched under, who loves helping others have a successful podcast. So now podcast again is a keyword. She also wants to minimize pod fading, or something like that. I can make a whole sentence. It could be, Christy Hostler is a organic gardening enthusiast who loves propagating plants and exploring hydroponics, along with creating hybrids of blah blah blah. So you see what I'm saying? You can fit all of those keywords in there, and then every time someone searches that keyword in iTunes, your show can then be found, and that's kind of how the iTunes search works. All of that description field that you put in has no bearing. It's not even keyword searchable. That's just kind of to give people that pull up your show and find your show a way to, see what your show is all about. So where you find those two fields, the title and the keyword field, if you go to Libsyn, and your show settings is going to be where your title field is. So use that space. It is character limited, but even if you put a word, something that's too long, like iTunes will truncate it, but it'll still pick up the keywords in it. So put those in there, and I use that pipe symbol. It's kind of up on the keyboard on the right hand side, like it's the one it's got like the backslash at the bottom, and I think the pipe is at the top, with the shift key. So use that one, and then just separate out your keywords. So whatever those keywords are, and think about it in terms of how people would find you. So a lot of times, even if you have like a very clinical or very scientific type podcast, but you're not really appealing to other clinicians or whatever, you're appealing to normal people, call those things what normal people would call when they're searching for you. Excuse me. The other thing is the author field. Now, once you've updated your title field in your show settings, what you have to do is go to a completely different place to update your author field. And if you'll go to your Destinations tab, and then there's a little drop-down box that'll come up, and it'll say Edit, and then or the other choices Add or New. So click the word Edit, and then it'll show all your publishing destinations there. And down beside the one that says Libsyn Classic Feed, you'll need to click the Edit button. When you click that Edit button, you'll go in there and you'll see your show description there, and then right below that you'll see the author field. So for that author field, create a really good keyword-rich sentence that says exactly who you are and what you do. You could put your credentials if you felt like it mattered, but honestly, most people are not searching for people. They're not searching by credentials. So you definitely want to make sure that you're using your author field to stuff in keywords, and I shouldn't even use that keyword stuffing, but to put in keywords that you know people should find you under. So you want to put in, like if I was an organic person, I'd want to put in as many things as the topics I cover. If I cover hydroponics, if I cover seed propagation, if I cover making hybrid plant varieties, if I cover heirloom tomatoes, I might say Christy Hostler is a heirloom tomato enthusiast who enjoys propagating new varieties, or those types of words. So I've got hydroponic, or I've got seed propagation, I've got all these other things in there. So that's kind of how you do that. Just craft a good sentence, put it in there. Probably the worst thing you can do is just put your name. No, the worst thing you can do is not put anything in that field, and it shows up with the title of your podcast and then unknown. And the best thing you could do is put something in there that's like a sentence of who you are and what you do. So hope that gets you more people finding you on iTunes. Those are the only 2 fields, so nothing else matters for iTunes. But other destinations may pull from your description. They may pull from your the other fields within your show, for example, the keywords or the tags that you can put in there. So it's still worth putting those things in there, even if iTunes isn't pulling from them, because other destinations do, or may right now. They change from time to time if they feel like their search is getting crazy because people are sort of abusing the situation. So what you want to do is fill in those anyway, let the other destinations use it, and pull in as many of your listeners as they possibly can. People are challenging iTunes to be the podcast, de facto king of podcasting. And granted, iTunes, because the iPod, kind of started the whole podcast. I mean, podcasting is sort of named after that. But with Spotify coming on board, iHeartRadio is becoming bigger for podcast. Don't know when we'll see some other streaming services going on, but also with Alexa search and the Amazon Echoes and the Dots and the Apple HomePods and all those connected things. There are other places that are going to be getting more and more podcast traffic just besides iTunes. But for now, we still jump through iTunes hoops knowing that they're the ones that are going to bring us most of our traffic. So if that's the way they have it set up, we sort of have to conform until it doesn't matter as much to us. So anyway, I hope that podcast tip is helpful to help you get in touch and in front of the people that you're doing your podcast for. And I hope you have a good day. Listen, we're going to get up to about 65 today, so it won't be quite as bone-chilling 59 as we woke up this morning. So it won't be quite as cold this morning, but it's got high winds, and it's going to warm up just a little bit. But at least it's sunny. The rain came through yesterday before the front came through, so it'll be a good one. So if you need a tip on how to get people to find your show in iTunes, go back and listen to this, because it'll show you the exact fields you need to fix in Libsyn and what you're looking for. So thanks for watching. Join me tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 10, the magic number 10. That means we're a third of the way through the 30-day challenge, and I'll have something new to talk about, something new and completely different, and who knows where I'll be tomorrow on Monday morning. So Billy, you have a good day too. Thank you so much. And if anyone wants to need a service, church service you can watch from your couch, your recliner, your bed, wherever, at 10 a.m. this morning, we'll be live streaming our church service at MCC Key West. So feel free to hop over there and join us. And otherwise, you guys have a wonderful Sunday fun day. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.